Hello, fellow Shadows. Welcome back to another video. And in this video, yes, you guys see me wearing a Jedi outfit. I just got done doing some TikTok videos. I'm a TikToker. Uh, so that's why you guys see me in my Jedi outfit. And I'm recording this in my bathroom. So with that said, yesterday and today, I've been hearing a version of the sequel trilogy that George Lucas potentially wanted. Now, there was one version that I've heard where Luke was going to train Leia in the ways of the Force. Luke was going to bring back the Jedi and stuff like that. And I think it was supposed to be set like a few years after, like 5-10ish years after Return of the Jedi. So after the events of the original trilogy, of course. But seeing how it's been like what 30-ish years, 30 or 40 years between like the release of Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens, so Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill would have been like too old potentially at the time. I don't know. I mean, they could still have done it with how old Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill was at the time of filming The Force Awakens, even though Mark Hamill only filmed like 5 seconds in the film. But still, I was okay with that. But here's what this says about another version that George Lucas wanted to do. Said, and I'm reading this from Gamer Raider. Games Raider. I'm sorry, it's Games Raider where I'm looking this up on. Says, Star Wars concept art reveals look at villain from George Lucas' unmade sequel trilogy. Say hello to Darth Talon, an unused villain in George Lucas' sequel trilogy and The Force Awakens. From my understanding from the videos I've seen, Darth Talon is one of those Legends characters. I'm not really familiar with Darth Talon, to be honest. All I know is that she's a girl. And if I remember correctly, which I'm pretty sure this will confirm it, George Lucas wanted Darth Maul to train her, essentially. So we'll get to that. It says, George Lucas's plans for a Star Wars sequel trilogy were pretty surprising, not least of the fact that they would have centered on the emergence of a new villain previously seen in the panels of the mid 2000s comic book that was once part of the extended universe canon. So yeah, Legends. Darth Talon was whose first appearance came in 2006 Star Wars Legacy comic series, was going to form a partnership with a resurrected Darth Maul in Lucasfilm's outline for episodes 7 through 9. See, I'm not really surprised at that, because if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, you probably didn't know that Darth Maul came back to life. He wasn't really dead per se in the show. They made it where, yeah, he was still cut in half, but his brother Sephaso Price found him with the help of the Mother Townsend, and he was crazy. So Mother Townsend, being the leader of the Night Sisters, restored his soul back. So even though we saw Obi-Wan Kenobi chop him in half in The Phantom Menace, I guess he didn't really die, but he could have for a few moments until Mother Townsend resurrected him off screen, and then eventually brought his soul back into his body in the Clone Wars. I don't know how that works, to be honest. But yeah, Darth Maul was in the Clone Wars, and he was a popular character. I liked him. He was mysterious. I would have... And here's the thing. Before I continue, I would have been okay if they didn't have Darth Maul come back. Because he was a mysterious character. And sometimes the reason why a character is so interesting, like for example Yoda, is because they have such a great mystery behind their like origins. Darth Maul was one of them, and to a certain extent, we don't know, like, at least I don't know all of his origins because I haven't read like that much of the canon books yet. But yeah, that's the reason. Like, bring back to Yoda for a second. That's the reason why Yoda is so interesting because George Lucas made Yoda's backstory so vague. Yeah, he was on the Jedi Council. By the time he died in Return of the Jedi, he was 900 years old. We've seen Yoda train younglings, the height of his power practically, in the prequels, and then training Luke, his last Padawan, before he died. Nothing in there did we see like his origins. Yeah, we might have had Yaddle, which was like same species as Yoda, was on the Jedi Council when Yoda was in the prequels, and then we are having Baby Yoda in Mandalorian. But I am a fan of some characters should have their backstory stay mysterious. And Yoda is one of them, because I do not want to know where he comes from. I do not want to know what his species is called. And that's mostly because George Lucas didn't want us to know that. And I guess you can say it's out of respect for George Lucas. I do not want to know the backstory of Yoda like that. If you get my drift. Anyways, continuing. Of course, Yoda being dead at this point in the sequel trilogy. But anyways, in the Star Wars universe. But anyways, a trilogy would have also seen Leia become Supreme Chancellor of the New Republic. Okay, that is great. I think that in terms of character, that would have made the most amount of sense for Leia, for her to become the Chancellor, Supreme Chancellor, or Senator. Because, let's face it, Luke followed in the steps of his father, Anakin, in becoming a Jedi. Leia followed in the steps of her mother, Padme, in a senator. And you can argue that, well, she was adopted, but still, if you're going to go with birth parents, yeah, she followed the steps of her mother. So yeah, Talon, the Darth Talon that Lucas intended to use, would have not been the same as the one in the comics, but would have been influenced by her. In other words, the story would have been very different. So what would Darth Talon, Maul's new apprentice, have looked like on the big screen? Thanks to some recently emerged concept art, courtesy of Lucasfilm creative art manager Phil's. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, sorry. Because I don't want to butcher it. We have a better understanding. I don't know if you guys can see it well. If you guys need to, pause it. But yes, she doesn't look bad. I like the look. So Darth Talon is a female Darth Maul. Those twin lightsabers certainly okay. I mean, she's like a tree leg with red skin. So I guess because she has a red skin with like some marks on her and with a two red blades, she's a female Darth Maul then, okay. But so Darth Talon is female Darth Maul. Those twin lightsabers certainly show the apple doesn't fall from the Sith tree in terms of unorthodox fighting styles. The concept art also hints at her powers of seduction and feels a little out of place in the Star Wars universe. There isn't anything wrong with bad guys like portraying bad guys trying to seduce their enemies. I mean, Catwoman. Sure, she's not really a bad guy. Okay, Poison Ivy is a better for example. Poison Ivy, she's a villain in the, for Batman. She is really attractive. I'm not gonna lie, she is really attractive, and part of her, what makes her such a great villain is that she tries to seduce people. And even though I personally consider Catwoman as a anti-hero, she does the same thing too. Sure, we might not have exactly seen. Wait, and didn't we see Anakin kind of trying to seduce Padme in the prequels? Well, more so in Episode 2. And it essentially worked. Not exactly how he turned out. Because they did kiss, even though that scene was awkward as hell. And towards the end of that movie, they did get married. And by the end of the trilogy, Padme did give birth to twins. So, and then there was one point confirmed in the Clone Wars where Obi-Wan had a love interest. Like, he was thinking about leaving the Jedi Order, confirmed in the Clone Wars. I think it was like season 3 or season 4, where Obi-Wan said to the Duchess of Manila, which is practically the Queen, that if she said something, he would have left the Jedi Order. And Han Solo, I'm pretty sure, seduced Leia with that kiss that we saw in Empire Strikes Back when they were stuck on that worm that was on the asteroid field. So, really, characters seducing each other isn't really out of the blue for Star Wars, especially since Jabba the Hutt's uncle had a alien that essentially used him, yeah, but seduced him. It's not really, like I said, it's not really out of left field for characters in Star Wars to seduce each other. They might not always make it plainly obvious. They might be smooth about it, or in Anakin's case, try to be smooth, failed at being smooth, but somehow succeeded anyways. Unless we were talking about what two people that love each other very much does in the bedroom. Which I'm not saying that word because I don't know if YouTube will allow me to say that in this term, so that's why I'm not saying it. So anyways, my point is seduction isn't unheard of in the Star Wars universe. So, of course, Darth Talon didn't make it into either the unmade sequel trilogy, but what character design was in the works for what eventually became Star Wars The Force Awakens. And before I continue, I'm not really exactly a big fan of the sequel trilogy. I feel like between the three trilogies, especially if you're comparing it to the other two, it was a hot mess. You could tell there was no plans. The prequels, even though, yeah, it has its problems, you can tell there was actually a direction George Lucas was going at. Same with the originals, but the original trilogy is best. And I'm a prequel defender and an original trilogy defender. But that doesn't mean if you bring up the case that, oh, well, the prequels or the originals had their issues, and tell me their issues besides saying just, oh, they have their issues, I would acknowledge that. Like I said, one of the things in the prequels that I had a problem with is that kiss between Anakin and Padme. It's not the kiss itself, it's just how that happened. It was awkward as hell. It was really awkward. And all the scenes with Padme and Anakin and Naboo, in my opinion, was kind of cringy. But even though it was cringy, I got where George Lucas was trying to go at. Just the execution, I guess, could have been a bit better. But there are still aspects in the Attack of the Clones where I do like, for example, before I continue, there's a hate mob saying, "Oh, you trashed the Attack of the Clones. You said nothing good." Here's one: the Geonosian battle. When Padme, Anakin, and Obi-Wan were at the Geonosian battle, defending themselves against those creatures, and then one Mace Windu with the other Jedi decided to come in the Geonosian arena to support Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme, and when Yoda came in with the clones, where it was the first time they actually attacked, and the only part of the movie where the clones attacked. 3 things in one part that I just mentioned I really enjoy. You're welcome. Anyways, Lucasfilm Pablo Hidalgo, which honestly sounds like a Star Wars character's name, previously said via Naboo News that Darth Talon was originally conceived as a character that would seduce Han and Leia's son over to the dark side. And in Legends, they did have a son named, I think his name is Jason, that turned to the dark side called Darth Caedus. Kylo Ren is Disney's version of that, pretty much. Anyways, the idea that eventually morphed into Kylo Ren, the offspring of the Organa-Solo relationship, becoming a Sith. What could have been? No Lucas made Episode 7, no twin lightsaber, no Darth Talon, boo. Instead, we had to make a shirtless Kylo Ren. So that part is biased. Even though I'm not a fan of shirtless Kylo Ren either, but that was clearly biased. So take a look at the franchise's future. Just giving you the option to look at like the upcoming movies. Well, let's face it. Before I close of what I'm going to say about this subject, with the announcements of the new movies and new shows, there's been so many announcements that's been made that hasn't gone to fruition. So any announcements that I see Lucasfilm make, I'm like, in terms of shows or movies, I'm like, okay. I mean, it'd be like for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I would be excited if that came to pass. I would love to see Obi-Wan Kenobi on again. He is my favorite Jedi of the prequels. It's safe to say he's my second favorite Jedi in general. My first one is Luke Skywalker. And I would love to see an Obi-Wan Kenobi series. They even announced it last year at D23. Or was it this year? Earlier this year, I don't forget. And they said the scripts are done. And then it comes to find out they were working on the scripts. And that's one of the reasons why I'm saying I'm coming to the point with like Lucasfilms or Disney confirming or announcing that, hey, we're going to make a new show or we're going to make a new movie. I said, and now I'm at the point where, okay. I mean, I'm still a big fan of Star Wars. Regardless of how I feel about the sequel trilogy, I still love Star Wars. My favorite Star Wars movies are the first 6 Star Wars movies, The Clone Wars, and Rogue One. I did enjoy Solo, A Star Wars Story, but that was for Star Wars standards, in my opinion. And Rogue One is my favorite Disney movie, Disney Star Wars movie. I did enjoy The Force Awakens, and I still do enjoy The Force Awakens in isolation. But The Last Jedi was like, yeah, sure, there might be some elements I may like in The Last Jedi, and then again with the Rise of Skywalker. But as a films as whole, I'm not a big fan of Rise of Skywalker or The Last Jedi, and I feel like because of those two films, they weaken the sequel trilogy. It could have been better. Like, there was no plan, and you can tell that. You can really tell that. But it would have been cool to see that, like, what George Lucas, like, at least one of his ideas for the sequel trilogy to be out there. And I know that one of the things that Disney's trying to spin that, oh, George Lucas originally killed off Luke in the episode 8. Here's the thing. Assuming this is true, pretending that this is true, because I don't know if it's true, because I've heard that his original plan, he planned to kill Luke off in episode 9. Now, things could have changed, where, yeah, George Lucas could have planned for Luke's death in episode 8. But, and just assuming, pretending that his plans changed, because what, it's been like 40 years from the original trilogy to the sequels. I bet George Lucas would have made Luke's death a bit more meaningful and made more sense. Sure, it might be meaningful to the characters of Star Wars in canon, but it didn't really make sense. The way he died did not make sense. I would have, like, Luke Skywalker is my favorite Jedi. I feel like he deserved a better hero's death than, hey, I'm going to force project myself. Oh, I'm going to die because I force projected myself. Like, I feel like he would have at least passed out. He would have passed out. I don't think he would have exactly died. That's my opinion. If you guys feel differently, of course I'm going to respect it, because I'm not going to be a dictator saying, you can't have your own opinion. If you disagree with me, you can't support this channel. No, I'm not going to do that. No. But, yeah, it would have been great to have seen George Lucas' trilogy, regardless if Disney did the original version and kind of adapted it a bit, because the original characters got older since then, and more so than when I heard the original, because I heard the original script for the sequel trilogy was going to be like set about 10-ish years after the events of Return of the Jedi. 10 and 20. Not as big of a gap as The Force Awakens did. But it would have been great to see at least one version of George Lucas' trilogy be adapted. But we all know that they didn't go George Lucas' route. Bob Iger told on them about it in this book. I read that. I didn't read the book, but I heard. But that Star Wars girl, she's a YouTuber. That Star Wars girl, go follow her. She did a video. I forget if she did a stream or just a video where she made. I know she read some bits of the book, I believe, if I remember correctly. And that's at least the part where Bob Iger mentions George Lucas and the negotiations for Star Wars. But at the end of the day, it would have been nice to see like George Lucas's vision for the sequel trilogy have been adapted, and maybe we can still kind of get that with the giving us another sequel trilogy like set after the Disney trilogy that a lot of fans are saying. And sorry if you can't see me. I don't know. Or maybe do like this Elseworld type deal where then Disney says, "Oh, well, if you guys want to choose between what sequel trilogy you guys consider canon, there's the original one, and then there's this one other one that we adapted George Lucas vision into it." And I've heard that George Lucas heard rumors that George Lucas was going to come back. If that's the case, if George Lucas was to come back, it would be nice to see him doing the sequel trilogy, his version. Hashtag the George Lucas cut. But I kind of doubt that would happen because he's like in his 80s. 80s, 90s. I believe he's in his 80s. And he has a wife and a kid that's, I think, under the age of 10. I might be wrong about the age. He probably wants to just... The reason why he sold Disney, Star Wars to Disney was one, probably because of the backlash that he got from the prequels and was sick of it. And two, probably, and this is my speculation, he just wanted to spend time with his family. He wanted to spend time with his family, be able to raise his child that was recently born at the time. So, So as much as it would be cool to see George Lucas return to Star Wars, like, in terms of filming, I doubt that would happen unless if, like, he gets someone to do, like, the filming part where he comes up with the story or concept, and then they show him, because now, like, stuff, like, digital has improved in, like, the prequel, so they can send examples of how, like, their execution of George Lucas' vision to him virtually. I doubt unless George Lucas gets a partner that he will be coming back to Star Wars. I really doubt that. I feel like Mandalorian or any other Star Wars shows that might be coming up, I feel like we have a bigger and better chance of George Lucas returning that way than making another trilogy. And that man deserves a break. I mean, he made the prequels. He made the originals. Those were, in my opinion, are the best Star Wars. He deserves some time to relax. Especially since he's out there, he deserves some time to relax. Regardless if we would love to see him back. Yeah. But anyways, what do you guys think about what I read? About the possible sequel trilogy that we could have gotten from George Lucas. Let me know in the comment section down below. And which sequel trilogy would you prefer? Like, the idea that George Lucas gave that I read on the phone from the article, or the sequel trilogy that we got? Also let me know in the comments down section below. And what if you were in charge of making the sequel trilogy, what would you guys have made the sequel trilogy to be? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love y'all. Have a wonderful day. May the force be with you. And be kind to one another. And I'll talk to you guys later. Love y'all. Again, have a nice day. And may the force be with us all.